Hello, friend, and welcome to another episode of the Quantum Paradigm Podcast. I am really honored to be here with you as I am every week. However, full disclosure, before I get burnt at the stake by my fellow females and all the beautiful embodied males who may take issue with the title of this podcast episode. As with so much of what I do, the forward-facing hook, the title, is meant to get you in the door here with me to create some intrigue. And if you're listening, I trust that my goal has been met, and the future not being female may rub you the wrong way. Maybe not, who knows, but we are going to go really deep on that. So just hold on to your horses, as we say in Kentucky. And yeah, also full disclosure, I feel like I have like 7 disclosures at the beginning of every episode because I never know what the hell I'm going to say that's going to get me in trouble with my audience. I did not feel like getting on camera today, and I did not feel like recording a podcast episode. I'm so sorry to admit that and confess that to you, because you guys know, I hope you know how much I love you, and that this is my life's purpose. I am privileged and honored to do my quote unquote work. It's my purpose, right? So this is part of it. This podcast is a big part of that. So when I wasn't feeling it, I'm like, oh, what do I do? Well, I know exactly what to do. Because I am an embodied feminine who has really alchemized not only decades, but millennia's worth, and I'm not even exaggerating, millennia's worth of frequencies. I am embodied as a feminine, sacred vessel and channel. Now, I don't know that I'm comfortable or convinced. I don't know that I'm convinced to say that every female is a channel. Maybe every female is. I honestly, I don't know. But I know that I am. So when I'm not feeling it, when I am not feeling motivated to create or motivated to write or whatever it is that the back end of my business is calling for and requesting me to do to sustain it, because our businesses are entities of ourselves, right? They are creative expressions of who we are. And when I'm not feeling connected to that, I have the amazing privilege of being a sacred channel, and all I have to do is open myself up to whatever wants to come through. And that is what I did. That is what I did before I got on camera. I have no notes today, and what came to me I was not expecting. So I don't know if this podcast episode will be 10 minutes long, 20, 30, I don't know how long we'll go. I'm just going to allow what is coming through to come through for you and serve you in whatever way that it resonates. I do feel that it's very important, especially as business owners, as impact makers, because that is who I serve. That's who I support in my work, are the people who are here making an impact for the new earth, for the new paradigm, the leaders, right? I am here to support and serve and lead those people, you guys. And so I know that what is coming through is going to resonate for you, because we're all connected to the same source information, right? This is just one channel that it's coming through. So all of that to say, what came to me was this notion that I've heard a lot recently from really embodied, highly conscious, beautiful souls that I deeply respect. And And that saying is that the future is female. And so God, there's so many different ways I could go with this. Okay, first of all, so that just in case you're new here, if you don't know about my story, and there's some parts of my story that I haven't made public, and I probably never will. It's too dark, and it doesn't need to be spoken about. But if you are new here, if you're not as familiar with some of my backstory, I do want to make it clear where I'm coming from, because there's a lot of noise on the internet. Okay, so I grew up in the state of Kentucky, and I also became deeply, deeply involved through my teenage years all the way through until my early 30s in the Southern Baptist cult, which is a cult, and has millions of really beautiful people in it. And I'm not going to get too far into there. I said what I said, and I have reason for saying it. So growing up in the South and the Southern culture, growing up, furthermore, developing spiritually and emotionally inside a deeply repressive religion, I am no stranger to sexism at all. Also, I spent about a decade in corporate, where I was, experiencing double the work at lower percentages of a pay income than my male colleagues, even though I, at that time, did have a degree already and all kinds of, qualifications, and I was really damn good at what I was doing. So, I have experienced sexism firsthand. Not only experienced it, just lived it for decades. Okay, so that's the backstory. I am no stranger to how difficult it is to rise above one's circumstances as a female. Okay, so before, like I said at the beginning, before I get burned at the stake by my own beautiful sisters, hear me out. Okay, hear me out. We do have to work harder to prove ourselves, to succeed than our male counterparts, and that's no fault of so many. I would say the majority of our male counterparts, right? I'm not going to get into the history of the fault here. We just know that this is the system that we were born into. Okay. Okay, I'm already going on tangents. So when I say the future is not female, I am definitely not coming from this perspective of we need to bow down at the foot of the male archetype here. What I mean, and I'm going to be very plain, the future is not female. The future is also not male. The future is union. The future is unison. The future is female and male. The future is the masculine and the feminine together as one. This is unity. This is unison. And this is the future of the new paradigm. This is the future of the new earth. And so I really think that the phraseology, the future is female, it has come out of this necessary, it's been necessary to acknowledge how slanted things have been for the last several hundred years, and or maybe 150, 200. Anyway, there's some debate there about the history, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. It's been needed to be acknowledged, right? That things have been heavily slanted in the direction of repressing the female and repressing the feminine wisdom. Okay, so I take no issue with the phrase the future is female because I understand with compassion where it's coming from. But as I am here as the new earth leader of leaders, I'm always going to be bringing you even further forward, okay? Beyond even what we would call the highly evolved state of making statements like that, like the future is female, right? Let's take it a step further, because the future is both. The future is the embodied male and the embodied female dancing as one, okay? And like, again, I'm not even going to get into all of the stuff about sexual orientation or anything. That is not what this is about. This is about the divine feminine wisdom being fully acknowledged, and not only acknowledged, but like listened to, okay? The divine feminine embodied wisdom is speaking to you now, and it's probably resonating somewhere in your body, in your heart center, if you have ears to hear, okay? So, and the divine masculine energy also being recognized and listened to, right? These energies are here to support and complement and fulfill one another and dance in this unison of embodied leadership and wisdom. Okay, so this is a complete release of ego. This is a complete, we've gone like 20 steps ahead of where we are currently operating in society. And even a few steps ahead of where the spiritual and more awakened society is operating. Okay. So now that my channel is fully open, I'm also hearing plenty of other languages that are not of a human language. So that's why I'm slowing down here in the transmission a little bit, because I'm hearing a lot. So what else do I want to say on this? Okay, so from a business perspective, what does this mean from a business perspective? Because so many of the people that I work with, my clients, actually all of my clients, are business owners and either healers or coaches or guides, okay? And from the perspective of being a healer, being a guide, being a coach, and owning and operating one's own business in a way that is supportive, in a way that attracts perfect clients, in a way that literally attracts money into the bank account without bending over backwards, without shifting oneself in any way to accomplish a goal other than just showing up in full authenticity, right? From this perspective, we want to honor the divine feminine essence that I just posted on my stories yesterday because we just came out of a full moon energy. I feel the full moons very deeply on a physical plane. And I think it was last week. Was it last week or the week before? We had an episode on why quantum leaps don't stick. It's because so many people miss the fact that quantum leaping is a deeply physical experience. So anyway, you can go listen to that episode. I think it was 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks back. But anyway, I do feel the full moon very, very acutely. And this time it hit me the day after the actual full moon occurred. Those energies stick around for 2 or 3 days before, 2 or 3 days after. So anyway, the feeling of being deeply, deeply tired and needing to completely pause and rest, right? So I would call this a feminine quality. You can be a man, a masculine embodied man, and connect to this feminine quality of moving with the rhythms and the rhythms that Mother Nature provide for us, right? So as I was doing that with the full moon, like I'm fully conscious of what I'm doing as a business owner. Because again, part of the new paradigm is like, there, okay, another tangent I have to go on. In the old paradigm, we really compartmentalized work, family, and fun, right? Like we've got work here, we've got family here, and we have like socializing here, or whatever other categories we want to put. And while there is benefit to certain segregations of energy, right? We cannot pretend that we are machines that have these compartments. Like the ego mind really, really likes that. It really like can hold on to that. But as I was resting in the full moon energy and just completely giving my brain a break, in the back of my mind, I knew for certain that this was deeply connected to my work, and that if I ignored that call to listen to what Mother Earth and the magnetism of the timing was calling for, that my work would actually suffer this coming week, right? So like there's not this compartmentalized, it's all one. And that's what I'm saying in terms of the future is not female. The future is not female. It's also not male. It's one. The future is unison. Okay. And we have a comment live. Hello. Like Bruce Lee. I don't think that anybody could accuse him. Yeah. He was constantly recommending being like, yes, Bruce Lee. Okay. So I've been studying Kung Fu seriously for 9 years, and Bruce Lee, who we all agree like is not what we would call feminine, was always talking about water, and water we associate with more feminine qualities and being receptive and soft, right? And again, I could go on this tangent about Tai Chi and how Tai Chi uses those qualities. We could look at Tai Chi as the more yin and Kung Fu as the more yang. And yet we have the yin and the yang symbol, or as my American English counterparts would say, the yin and the yang. Okay, it's one. So yes, and tapping into and recognizing and honoring the feminine qualities that are emerging more and more in society as equal. And here's what I want to say, really. They're not above the masculine qualities. They're not above the masculine qualities. And yet the wisdom is so different. The feminine wisdom, the divine feminine wisdom is so different. And it's very, very deep and expansive, right? And so I think that that's what the collective is starting to really tap into and feel. And it feels so good because we have so many badass women rising up that we start saying things like, the future is female. Well, I don't know. I mean, I have 3 young men in my house. I brought 3 men into the world, and I look at them and I see the future through their eyes. The future, my friends, is one. It is unity. It is masculinity. It is femininity as one, complementing the other and standing beautifully in its own right. Okay. So as a business owner, as a spiritual leader, as a guide, as a coach, I really want you to sink into both qualities. Okay. Again, I prop myself up as an example so often because that's my life's path. Honestly, when you look at my human design, it's written all over it. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect by any fucking means. But when you can look at me and what do you see? What do you see? Would you call me like masculine? I don't think so. I definitely embody the feminine, and yet I carry a lot of masculine traits, right? A lot. And I bring a lot of that beautiful masculine energy into my business. I've got rhythms, I've got structures, right? The feminine and the masculine, both, right? I heard a previous coach of mine, describe the masculine energy as the drum beat, right, of a song. And as a musician, that really resonated with me. So we really enjoy having that drum beat to keep us on track as the masculine energy. And then the feminine energy gets to come in and flow, right? So when I take 24 hours off, and that might not seem like a big deal to most people, but holy shit, telling myself that I couldn't pick up my work and I couldn't create for 24 hours, I was so proud of myself at the end of the night when I hadn't created anything and I hadn't worked on anything. I hadn't touched anything in my business because I love what I do so much and I love my clients so much that I have to restrain myself from working and yet really tapping into that feminine call to flow with nature, right? And as a female, yes, I have a flow, a monthly flow, right? And so listening to that rhythm as well. Yeah, so Madeline is here live with us too. And the drumbeat analogy is perfect, isn't it? Yeah, I really appreciate that. So tapping into that, like I did yesterday, to the feminine energy of flowing with the full moon, I wasn't stressed. I wasn't stressed about work. I wasn't stressed that as a coach who has most of my stuff is online, like that I wouldn't get business or clients, or that something was going to fall apart because I took a day off, because I do have that masculine drum beat strategy in place, and like the what's the word I'm looking for? Structure, strategy. There's another, schedule. Yeah, I love schedules. I don't follow them very often, but it's like a oh God, it's totally escaping me. Structure, routine. Okay, thank God. Routine. It's kind of like a routine that I can play with, right? So we've got the more structured, the more like masculine, and then we've got the more flowy, the more feminine. And again, this has nothing to do with gender. This has nothing to do with orientation. These are just energies that flow, that are coming in to support us. So when I say the future is not female, I mean the future is both. It's unison. It's unity. And this can be within oneself. You don't need another on the outside. This is embodied in every human being, right? And to be honest and to completely confess in front of you, I used to think when I would hear people talking about these energies and stuff, I'd be like, are they serious right now? Like, what kind of a 7-figure CEO, like multimillionaire, is going to be discussing masculine and feminine energies and like, okay, let's just sit around a campfire and sing Kumbaya instead. Well, I'm sorry that was my perspective at one point, because here I am talking to you guys about it. Like, it's not fluff. It's not fluff. This is for fucking real. This really does. These are the energies that are in the 5D that when you see it embodied in front of you in the 3D, you look at the person and you're like, damn. Whatever they've got going on, whatever they're doing, I want that for my business. I want that for my family, right? Like, we have a comment here, foundational shit. Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking today, like, I'm going to get emotional talking about this. I have a harmonious family. I have a deeply harmonious relationship with each of my 3 sons, and my 3 sons have harmonious relationships with one another and with me. And if you know anything about my story at all, you will appreciate why I'm getting so emotional at the moment. And that harmony in family, the harmony that I have with my clients, the harmony I have with myself inside of my business, and the routines and practices that I have are in large part to what we're talking about with this balance of masculine and feminine energy, right? Really honoring each individual exactly where they are in their journey is just magic. And that's where, and this is coming through, I'm getting confirmation as I'm speaking these words, that's where this reverence comes in. And that's where the masculine can look at the feminine, whether that's a man looking at a woman, whether that's a person looking inside at their own energies, whether that's whatever that looks like. That's where these energies can bow in reverence to one another as sacred. Because we as human beings are sacred, beautiful beings, and we're here to embody something so much bigger than this male, female history that we've created that's been so fucking convoluted for the past, I don't know how long, right? But where we can come in reverence to who and what we truly are, which is an embodiment of the same source energy, right? And when we can come in reverence to that, the world is our oyster. And if we are business owners, if we are leaders in the community, if we are mothers, if we're fathers, if we are whatever we're doing, guiding others in some way, this is the kind of energy that is required for the new paradigm, for the new earth. It's actually required. Because anything else is a waste of time. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of my time. Right? And this is where I do kind of come in here and I embody a little bit more of my masculinity here as I call forth and call through any kind of bullshit where we're just sitting around and wasting time on these debates, right? This is not a debate. We're here, we have important work to do. And so if there's, so the invitation for today is to really look within and ask yourself, is there a place that's calling for deeper balance within me, within my masculinity, within my femininity, within my own energy? Is there somewhere where that's asking for balance? Have I leaned so far over here that it would be really beneficial to bring in some more of these qualities, like a drum beat, right? I work with some females who, actually my clients don't really do this, but I have seen some females who are so flowy that there's really no structure in business. Like, that ain't gonna fly. That's just not gonna fly, my friend. And I have also seen where there's been so much structure and so much rigidity that there's no flow and there's no give and there's no receptivity. That's also not going to get you very far. You need both. You need both to build a sustainable business that will not only work in the 3D, but also nourish your soul, really work for your clients, and be something that is so beautiful and juicy that you have to restrain yourself from working because you love it so much. Like, forget burnout, right? And yet creating so much, if you don't take a break, that can burn you out. So anyway, that's a whole different podcast episode, but I am starting to ramble. I'm going to cut myself off here. I hope that something here resonated with you and is of service and is landing for you in your next steps in business. So again, I leave you with the question today: what needs to be brought into further balance? Is there a need for a little bit more rigidity and routine? I don't like the word rigidity, but how about routine or drumbeat? Is there a need for a little bit more of a beat, of a rhythm? Or is there a need for like taking a break, right? That full disclosure, that's what my coach, I pay my coach good money to help me rest and remind me to take a fucking break, right? Because I need to be receptive and allow. And thank God I've learned that lesson and continue to learn and master that. Like, thank God. That's why I'm not burning out. Anyway, I said I was going to cut myself off, and here I am going on and on and on. And it's just because I love you guys so much and I want to stay here with you. But I'm going to go feed my body some food so I can show up here full flow again tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining me today, and I will see you guys again next week. I love you so much.